Hey guys, we are live with the review of the fifth week of the IPL. I was so confused what to say. But yes, we are back live. Hey cricket with Mr. Kaustubh, hey Pranav, hey Shrikant, hey Advait.
What's up,
IPL this
boys?
year be lit. That is true. There's a lot of Shrikant Dara being generational bottlers has to be studied. That is very true. But here we are with the fifth week of the IPL review. If you have joined us, which some of you evidently have, hit that like button because it'll help us push the live to a lot more people. We say this every week, so we gotta say it this week too. If you guys are joining in for the first time or watching this live for the first time or watching this video later on for the first time, this is our live where we go through every IPL team, talk about the strengths and weaknesses. We also have late segments later on talking about stat file, technical takeaways, youngster of the week, performer of the week, something that we did talk about before the IPL started that has come true. So yeah, a lot of things to cover. Hi Pranav, I think. Yeah, Pranav. Oh, that's another. Oh, it's the same Pranav. Never mind. I think Ara were always chokers. Butler saved the asses most of the time. God damn.
That's probably a decent take. I'm not going to contest that.
Yeah, that's true. Shrikant, who loses from winning position with wickets in hand and situation favoring you?
Rajasthan.
To be fair, yeah, Rajasthan, RCB.
There are a lot of teams. They just have their seasons.
Bro, whom do you think is the take of the season till now? In terms of the player of the season or like our take of the season?
Hot take or let us know what you mean.
Yeah. We'll wait for a little bit. We don't expect a lot of viewers because our expectations have come down. But that doesn't mean a quality on our lives has come down. We still put in the work, do what we have to.
Put in the hours. Take what's ours.
Krishif Trigger finally joined one in time. Hey, look at that.
Let's go.
Good on you.
Get your friends along. Like the stream.
Oh yeah, like the stream. Pranav, Josh revamped the RCB death bowling. Absolutely. Advait, I think Sai Sudarshan is definitely one of them. Oh yeah, if you're talking about takes, yeah, 100%. I mean, Sanjay Manjek, I don't know how late this or how late this tweet is.
Yeah, the tweet on strike rate
Yeah,
and runs, right?
he missed out Virat. He doesn't have a strike rate of 150 plus. That's fine. He missed out Jazz. Oh no, I think Virat might just have. But
yeah,
he missed out Sai Sudarshan. He missed out Jaiswal.
I think the filter was 150 strike.
Yeah, 150 strike rate with 300 plus runs.
Yeah.
Butler was their hope. They sold Ferrari to keep up a beat up broken Suzuki. God damn.
Damn, that is hectic.
Yeah. But yes, we will. Let's start off with our segments. Let's go to the points table. It's been such an interesting tournament so far. Gujarat Titans leading the points table after the week 5 of the IPL with Delhi Capitals second, RCB third, Punjab Kings being fourth, Mumbai Indians having a resurge. I don't know how latest this thing is. Is this the latest? Why does Mumbai Indians have a loss?
Oh, it's in this side.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, thank God. Mumbai Indians taking the 5th position, Lucknow Super Giants, KKR, Sunrisers Hyderabad, and the worst two teams in this tournament so far, RR and the Chennai Super Kings.
Yeah, we're heading into the business end of the tournament, and you basically know that the last 3 are not going to make it. So that's sorted out for us. Yeah.
But yeah, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, the top 6.
Yeah, still in contention.
Yeah, it's quite tight if you think about it. Keep my close. Sir, it couldn't be more close. But let's go to the team analysis and let's talk about how the Mumbai Indians have done so far in this week. They've played 2 matches, have won 2 matches. They have this late resurgence that we all know for so many years of the IPL, and we have that incoming. I think 4 matches in a row is what they won. 2 matches this week. And it's just great to see because something I've complained about the last couple of weeks is the lack of top order runs. In specific, lack of Rohit Sharma runs. And in this week, we had Rohit Sharma scoring 70 odd, both games staying not out against the CSK. And it's good to see Rohit Sharma back in form. But what's also good to see is when Suryakumar Yadav comes on to bat, he finishes off. In both matches, he stayed not out with a strike rate of 200 plus. And so for him to be able to do that, which means the top 5, yes, I'm going to be critical about the other opener, but besides him, the top 5 have looked in good touch. And that's exactly what was missing from the Mumbai Indians. And we have that. And with Rohit Sharma scoring runs up top, you just know that the Mumbai Indians look a very, very dangerous side. With the ball, something I was again critical about is lack of power play wickets. And in the last 2 games, they did get 5 wickets in total with Ashwini
Kumar, yeah.
Good lord. With Ashwini Kumar getting 1 in the first game, and then Trent Bolt and Deepak Chahar getting 4 in the second game against the Sunrisers Hyderabad, in total of 5 wickets in the power play. And Trent Bolt looking in great form against the Sunrisers Hyderabad, getting the man of the match, not only bowling well in the power play, but bowling great at the death. Something that was very noticeable to see, there was Trent Bolt during the man of the match. He was openly talking about how he'd gladly bowl 4 overs up top, but of course the team expects him to have different roles, also why he needs to bowl at the death. But him bowling at the death, at least against Hyderabad, worked very, very well. And for him to get the man of the match, it was just good to see. It's good to see bowlers getting the man of the match. And even Deepak Chahar, he was scrutinized a lot week before this, but this week, maybe not in terms of wickets per se as compared to someone like a Trent Bolt, but even in terms of economy, he's done well, and he's done decently well, at least against the Hyderabad. So a lot of things working well for the Mumbai Indians, but if I were to be very, very critical, and one of the weakness would be their other opener, that's Ryan Rickelton. He hasn't really gotten a score, 20 odd runs in both the games. I'm just being very critical, but for Mumbai Indians to stand out in moments and stand out in big games, they are known to do that. But in a game now where Rohit Sharma will not perform, you will need the other opener to step up. And that's the wrap for Mumbai Indians.
Nice to see some of y'all who missed the live last week be back in the comments. Akshay, I can see. So glad to have you all back. Definitely drop a like. Moving to probably the saddest franchise this season, that's the Rajasthan Royals. Just the one game for them this week, and they lost in the exact same fashion, again needing a chaseable total in the last couple of overs, unable to close the game out. Strengths, I think the only thing that's going for them right now is Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's been able to do well with the bat. But apart from that, Jofra Archer to some extent is able to hold one end up with a new ball. But beyond that, it's just struggles everywhere. We've spoken about it time and again how their spinners have not been able to get wickets in the middle and have also been leaking a lot of runs. But at this point, it's just the entire team that's been struggling, even with the rest of the batters. It's very hot and cold, and there's also a lot of news that is floating around outside. There's a lot of rumors, and it clearly feels like that camp is a little fragmented for sure. So that's on the Rajasthan Royals. And they're basically done for this year's campaign. So I think what they should probably focus on for the rest of the games is probably give some of the newbies a go. You already have Vaibhav Suryavanshi in the mix. You can probably get in a Quena Mapaka. You can see how some of the Indians like Kunal Singh Rathore, how these guys will fare in the IPL games that are remaining at least, so that they can at least lock down some players for the next season that might, want to be a part of that playing 11.
God damn, the chat is a bit on about Ruturaj Gaikwad retiring is a bit of an extreme take. But let's talk about the Chennai Super Kings. And if you were to talk about the Ruturaj Gaikwad retiring, let's talk about the franchise he plays for. They played 2 matches this week, lost 1-1. The winning one game was, I feel like, just a silver lining to a very dark cloud. Ayush Matre has come very, very good for the Chennai Super Kings. In the first game, he batted at number 3. In the second game, he opened the innings while Rachin Ravindra was dropped. A big take, but he had to be dropped at some point. Ayush Matre is not a very unknown figure if you've been following the domestic circuit, because he was one of the highest run scorers in the Vijay Hazare tournament for the Mumbai team. And yeah, sure, he hadn't played a lot of T20 games, but if you can flourish in the 50-over format, you just need to adjust your game a little bit. Easier said than done, of course, and Ayush Matre has done that very, very well. Yeah. And Devil Brevis, he came in the second game, scored a lot of runs. Okay, so if you were to talk about CSK's strengths at this point, it's more of positives because they don't really have a strength. A lot of batters have been chipping in with runs. I was very, very critical of Jadeja the week before this, but he came in at number 4, number 5, scored a 50. So he scored a lot of runs. But the only problem is that the Chennai Super Kings don't have an explosive batter in the middle to take away the game from the opposition. And that's been the case for the last few seasons, they've gotten away with it in the last couple of seasons, but this season has been really, really exposed. MS Dhoni doesn't look in good form at all. Sure, he's hit a lot of sixes, scored a lot of runs, but hasn't been important when he's needed. And that is, again, been a very big problem for the CSK. Of course, they have strengths, and that's the bowling lineup. It was very interesting against the Mumbai Indians. Everyone assumed Anshul Kamboj would come in as the impact player, but Aswin came in. He did a decent job. Jadeja too. They've all had on and off games. Even Noor Ahmed didn't have the best second game, whereas against Mumbai Indians, he did very well. So these guys have done well as a bowling unit. It's only the batters that have been letting them down. And how much can the bowling unit do? Because, of course, there will be one odd games where the bowling unit doesn't flourish and the batting unit needs to step up. Except the CSK batters just really haven't.
From here, moving to the Sunrisers Hyderabad, who've actually done all right this week. They've got 1 win and 1 loss in the 2 games that they did play. What's worked for them is Klaasen has finally gotten a big score. Till now, till this part of the tournament, it was a lot of Klaasen getting 30s and 40s, but not being able to take that game forward. So he got a 71. Of course, it was in a losing cause against the Mumbai Indians, but that's something that they will take heart from. They've also gotten Jaydev Unnadkat, who's put in 2 really good performances, a 1 for 25 in 3 overs, and the other figures I do not have here. But apart from that, Harshal Patel, I feel like people are not talking enough about what Harshal Patel has been doing. He's looked solid. He's been using his cutters extremely well. Figures of none for 21 in 3 overs and 4 for 28 in 4 overs, which is phenomenal. But the one strength that I think that they can take away into the next couple of seasons is Kamindu Mendes. I think there's something about Kamindu Mendes. He gives you a few overs of spin and he's solid in the middle order. He was also there when they finished off that game in which they won. So that's and good signs.
Tremendous catch.
Yeah, the catch is what I was coming to. The catch is the inspiring moment that might give them some unity as a group to possibly try and push towards a playoff, which is extremely tough. But it's moments like these, especially when you're not having a good campaign, and Kamindu pulls off the kind of catch that he did, it can really like lift the spirits. So that's one thing. And for weaknesses, I think it's just the top order has been very inconsistent, been very hot and cold. Travis Head is really struggling now. Yeah. He's getting runs, but he's getting like a 14-38, which is not what you've signed him up for. And that's where it is, because I feel like as a bowling unit, Sunrisers are doing a pretty okay job. They do have a couple of bowlers who might have an off day, but with the bat, it's just all over the place. And that's probably what has caused them this season. What was heartening, though, was that in the last game against CSK at Chepauk, despite losing those early wickets, they were able to tough it out and then eventually win that match. It was not like they were going hell for leather and in the process just losing all of their wickets. They realized that a little bit of sensibility is required, especially when it's a small chase. It was 155 to win. You didn't have to do anything out of the ordinary, which they realized, and they did that, which is good for them. But probably the realization has come too late in this season.
All right, let's go from the Sunrisers Hyderabad to the Lucknow Super Giants. A lot of people talking about a lot of things in the chat, which we will come to because I really have opinions about that. Let's talk about the Lucknow Super Giants and talk about the captain that he wasn't at that match. They played 1 game, lost 1 game. He just didn't come on to bat until the 18th or the 19th over and still got a duck out. Rishabh Pant, I had no idea what was going on with him. I thought for a second that we were going to see the old Rishabh Pant, and when I say old, the first couple of seasons when he was just a finisher. He would come on, hit those big sixes and go away. Except wickets kept falling and he just didn't show up, and then it became the Dhoni that we know of 2025. Except you don't really expect that from Rishabh Pant. So him as a captain is the biggest weakness at this point, as actually him as a batter is the biggest weakness for LSG. And I had to start off with this because he is the captain, and it's just unfortunate to see Rishabh Pant, the player, like this. I think it was on Crick Buzz, if I'm not wrong, and Harsha Bhogle was talking about you want to see Rishabh Pant be happy, have fun on the field. Yeah. You want him to talk in the stump mic. You want to hear Rishabh Pant on the stump mic having a lot of fun, laughing around. And you don't see that happening. And it could be the management, it could be the pressure, it could be just him being out of form. It could be a lot of factors. But Rishabh Pant not having fun in the field is a big red flag for an Indian fan. And if you're an LSG fan, that too. But there are a couple of positives, of course. I mean, they did lose the game. But like, their openers did continue to do well. Mitchell Marsh and Aiden Markram continue to get a lot of runs. It's been a while since Nicholas Puran has got a big score, but I don't think they'll be worried about that. He's had a fantastic season, not just in the IPL, but in the last couple of seasons. And with the ball, Digvesh Rathi and Avesh Khan, they haven't picked up a lot of wickets, also why they went on to lose the game. But economically, they've done very, very well. Shardul Thakur will be a talking point and will be, I don't know if LSG will be ready to drop him, but after the first 2 weeks, he's just fallen off the radar. Not in terms of wickets, like that's fine. It's okay if you don't take a lot of wickets. But he's been conceding so many runs. In the last game, he bowled 4 overs. Okay, he didn't concede a lot of... Oh, yeah. Okay, 2 overs and conceded 28 runs. To not even complete his quota of overs says a lot. And I will be interested to see how long they continue with Shardul Thakur. And that's another weakness of theirs. The bowlers not being able to take wickets even when they concede a lot of runs.
And from there, moving to a franchisee that has been doing pretty alright this season. Yesterday, of course, was a no result for them. But apart from that, they got 1 loss this week. So... Punjab Kings will want to turn that around, especially when they're getting this close to the business end of the tournament with the top 4 looming. Punjab will have to look at that. But for strengths, they finally got in Harpreet Brar, and straight away he's been doing what he was doing last season as well. He's just picked up from the same place. Figures of 1 for 27 in the 4 that he did ball. So that's great signs for them. They can afford to possibly drop Chahal if they want to do that, because they know that with Harpreet Brar, he straight away come in and had the kind of impact that he had last season as well. Apart from that, obviously yesterday, the way Punjab batted was something to watch. The 2 openers, Prabh Simran and Priyansh Arya. Crick fan, thank you for the super chat. Hi guys, came after a long time. Your thoughts on RCB versus DC? How RCB can win today? We'll get... Hope RCB can win today.
But thank you, Crick fan. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, it has been a while since you've been here.
Nice to see you, man. Or woman, I don't know. But yeah, coming back to the Punjab Kings, last night, the way Prabh Simran and Priyansh Arya batted is possibly some of the best batting I've seen from an uncapped Indian pair in a very, very long time. Scores of 83 and 69, the way they were going, it was absolutely fun to watch. But yeah, apart from that, in weaknesses, again, it's just Maxwell and the middle order. There's nothing that's changed. It's surprising because at the start of the season, we thought that the likes of Maxwell and Stoinis are the ones who are going to solidify Punjab Kings. But it's actually the Indian players who've been stepping up consistently for them. And so, like, how long do you play Maxwell and Stoinis? Or do you just eventually give a chance to some of the other overseas batters or just all-rounders? Because at this point, they're just dead weight being carried around in the team. So, yeah. That's on the Punjab Kings.
Let's go from the Punjab Kings to the Gujarat Titans. They played 1 game, won that game. Again, I've talked about this in the last couple of weeks, and I feel like at this point, I'm never going to get bored talking about this. Their top 3 batters are simply insane. There's a reason why the top 3 batters are the best top 3 batters in one batting lineup this season. Sai Sudarshan, Shubman Gill and Joss Butler. They've not only scored a lot of runs, they've been scoring a lot of runs at a high strike rate. I think all of them have a strike rate of more than 150. If not, Gill and Joss Butler have it for sure. But I want to say all of them have a strike rate of more than 150. Maybe not Sai Sudarshan, I'm not really sure. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. But yeah, of course, like the top 3 batters have done insanely well throughout the season. I also want to say the top 3 batters are in the top 10 highest scorers list this season. And it just goes to show how good of a form they're in. They were talked about before the season, and I think they are those 3 sets of players that have been worth the hype and have met the standard because of how they've done for the team. But not just this. Their strengths goes beyond the top 3 batters. And that's their bowlers. If you look at Sai Kishore, if you look at Mohammad Siraj, who's also done pretty well. If you look at Ishan Sharma, if you look at Prasidh Krishna, Ishan Sharma has been on and off. There has been matches where he's picked up wickets, but there have been matches where he's conceded a lot of runs. But if you look at Sai Kishore, Prasidh Krishna, they've all conceded just around 6 runs per over. And one weakness that I constantly talked about in the previous weeks is Rashid Khan not getting wickets and conceding a lot of runs. Even that turned around for him this match, where he picked up 2 wickets with an economy of 6.2. Great to see. You want Rashid Khan to be back. You want him to be in form. If I were to emphasize on a weakness, or if I were to be very, very critical about it, it's the middle and lower middle order. Yes, there was a game where they were able to finish off the game, but the middle and lower middle order not getting a lot of match practice or match time might just seem like a very small thing. And your argument can be if the top three scoring runs, what's the worry? I don't think it's a worry at all, which is also why I'm saying it's a very, very nitpicky thing. But in a game, in a crunch situation where there might be 50 for 3 with all three batters, all your top order batters in the dugout, you would then want your middle order to step up. Will they step up is the question. We will see when the time comes.
And from there, going to a fan favorite, that is the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Whoever's joining the stream now, definitely drop a like. Whoa, 10 people just dropped off the live. Crazy. But yeah, drop a like, guys, so that it's pushed out to more people. But anyways, the Royal Challengers Bangalore have had a beautiful week. 2 matches, 2 wins. They've finally buried the demons of the Chinnaswamy. They've won 1 game there. So that's great signs. Getting into their strengths, the biggest thing that's happened for them these 2 games, is Devdutt Padikkal getting scores of 50 plus in both these matches. 61 and 50 to be precise. He's been able to take the pressure off Virat Kohli, and I think those two are a very likable partnership, and I think the style of play complements each other. And it's brilliant because now everybody's firing for RCB with the bat. There is literally no weak link. Right from the top order, from Phil Salt all the way down to Tim David, you have batters who are consistently getting runs in situations where they need to get runs. So that's a big thing. But even bigger, and possibly why our title is also what it is today, is the fact that their bowling just continues to fire. Hazelwood getting 4 for 33. Krunal Pandya continuing to fire, 2 for 25, 2 for 31. And Suyash Sharma also getting 2 for 26 in the game that he played. And it just feels like the RCB are doing everything correctly. They're not putting any foot wrong. The only weakness I can think of, and this is something that I've already spoken about for a couple of weeks, is Yash Dayal. He is getting little better, but he's still being expensive. And teams are going to be targeting Yash Dayal, especially in the death overs, as the bowler to be taken down in a chase or whatever it is. And so RCB might want to have one alternative there. They did try Romario Shepherd, and he did kind of come good, did a decent job. And so that's the only thing. Now they've won a game at Chinnaswamy as well. All's looking well for them. They will just want to make sure that they continue with this momentum.
Let's go from the Royal Challengers Bangalore to the Delhi Capitals. They played their 1 game against the Lucknow Super Giants. It became the biggest thing in the world how KL Rahul finished off the game, shook hands of Goenka, and then
walked away. Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah, what a way to finish off the game. It would have been great. And even KL Rahul even posted it's always good to be back in Lucknow post. I thought that was very classy of him. I like this version of KL Rahul. Also how it reflects on the way he's batting. With a strike rate of more than 150 this season, Akshar Patel and by the way, Delhi Capitals played the 1 game, won that 1 game, if I already hadn't said that. But like Abhishek Purell has been, I mean, he was a find of the season, I think last year, the year before that. And this year, I think Delhi giving him a lot more chances. I think he's just coming into his own, scoring 51. And then Akshar Patel and KL Rahul finishing it off while staying not out was good to see. Akshar Patel hasn't got a lot of runs this season. He's of course played the odd cameo. If that is his role, he's been doing that pretty well so far. But him staying not out, I thought was very, very important. Of course, there was a drop catch, and a relatively easy drop catch. But the scorecard suggests he stayed not out in the end, and for him that will be important. And so that is good for KL Rahul and Akshar Patel and the Delhi Capitals. And one of the most positive things is, and I've been very, very critical about Mukesh Kumar the weeks before this, is that he got 4 wickets. And doesn't matter how you get those wickets. Again, the scorecard says he got 4 wickets. Mukesh Kumar knows he got 4 wickets. It's the confidence that you need sometimes as a fast bowler going into matches, and knowing that you got 4 wickets in the match before, and today when they're going to play, I want to say the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Yeah. When they're going to play RCB, Mukesh Kumar knows when he walks into the field that, hey, I got 4 wickets last match, so I'm good enough to be here, and I feel like in good form. If I were, again, to be very, very critical, not very critical, but just nitpicky, once again, I will say that Kuldeep Yadav got no wickets last game, and he didn't look like he was going to get a wicket, which was very, very out of the ordinary, because in every week before that, even if he didn't get wickets, he wasn't conceding a lot of runs. He didn't concede a lot of runs. He only gave about 8 runs per over, but he didn't look like a bowler who was going to get a wicket. And I'm being too critical about someone who's done extremely well, and someone we will have a video coming out on Tuesday, so watch out for that. But yeah, he didn't get a wicket, so if I were to talk about a weakness, it would be Kuldeep Yadav.
And from there, coming to the last franchise, that is the Kolkata Knight Riders. They've had an iffy week once again. One loss and the no-result game last night where their bowlers got absolutely demolished. But coming to their strengths, nothing much really is working for them. They've not batted well this week in the one game that they could have batted, and in the other game, my camera has stopped.
Wow. I feel like we could have a million subscribers with the problem still continue.
I'm back, guys. But yeah, in the other game, anyways, they did not get any batting time. So there's not much I can comment on their batting except for it's been a little all over the place. But even in the game that they did lose, it was chaseable. It just felt like there was a clear lack of intent from KKR. This is something that I think Crickbuzz also spoke about. I want to say Joy Bhattacharya had a lot to say, being a KKR boy himself. Not played, but yeah, around. But yeah, that's on KKR. Coming to the weaknesses, obviously the batting intent. And apart from that, something I actually wanted to bring up, and it's not something that we often talk about, is the gap between games of cricket. Now, KKR, I was looking at their calendar, has had a couple of weeks where they've had 7-day gaps between the cricket matches that they have been playing. And a lot of times you might think that, okay, that's probably great for the players because they can rest. But on the contrary, if you ask a lot of players, and especially in situations where you've had title winning campaigns, it's always that the team is in some kind of flow and they have a match every 2 to 3 days. And it's just a mindset thing. I think it's just like a psychological thing that I want you guys to kind of ponder upon, because a lot of times having too much of a break also can disrupt the flow and the rhythm that the team is in, which I feel like is the case for KKR, because they do have the recipe, they do have a good team. They started off the tournament well, but somewhere it's just kind of fizzled out. But that's on KKR.
Alright, that's the team stuff done and dusted, which is great because at some point it gets tiring and I'm going to complain. But told you say what? So the told you so segment is basically something we talked about before the IPL season started and has come about in existence during the season. So Praatibh, what's the told you so?
Well, this time it's not about something that we particularly spoke about pre-IPL season.
Right.
But I mean, we did highlight the spinner Surya Sharma, how he will be important with Krunal Pandya. And we spoke about how if this guy gets into any kind of form, it's going to be great for RCB. And that's exactly what's happened. He's finally found the rhythm that last week we knew he was sort of getting into a little bit of good touch. And this week he's found that rhythm. RCB's won 2 games. Obviously, everyone else is firing as well.
True.
But you heard it first here.
From the told you so, let's go to the week's youngster. Who is the week's youngster, Praatibh?
Congratulations, Ayush Matre, in an otherwise disappointing season for the Chennai Super Kings. I think they found someone for the future. Scores of 32 in 15 deliveries and 13-19. He's looked the part.
He has. And he's looked extremely well in terms of how he goes about attacking attacking the ball.
Yeah.
And he's just so confident. For someone who has no reason to be confident, especially because of the team's doing, he hasn't got a lot of games. He hasn't particularly played a lot of T20 games that have been on record. So for him to just come out and bat the way he has, good on him. I hope they invest in him and just not let him go. Even if they let him go, I hope some other team gets him and invests in him and makes him a top order player and not someone like an Ayush Badoni where they shift him down to below in the lower middle order. But yeah, that's the youngster of the week. Let's go to the top performer of the week.
Well, I just realized that the banner still has Shardul Thakur, who... It's like we jinxed him, bro, in the top performer.
Oh, we haven't changed that.
Yeah, that's fine, though. But yeah, coming to the top performer, Devdutt Pardikal this week, I think, has done well and deserves the top performer. Scores of 61 and 50. Big part for RCB winning those 2 games.
True.
What's worked for him?
I think what's worked for him is, again, he's become a lot more attacking. He has that trigger movement now, something he's changed, something we did talk about in the technical takeaway. I think the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that's really worked for him is something that's worked for KL Rahul too. Just expanded your game, not in terms of the number of shots, but expanded your shots in itself. Something that hasn't worked for Rachin Ravindra and Devin Conway, but worked for someone like a KL Rahul and Devdutt Pardikal. In essence, they're all similar kind of batters. They're very technically solid and they play textbook shots. And for them to get those boundaries and sixes, what they need to do is expand their shots. Something what Virat Kohli does very, very well. Play those cricketing shots, but a ball that he could hit for a boundary, he can hit that for a 6 because of the way he extends his arm, extends that shot, elevates that shot. And I think that's something that has worked for Devdutt. He's also talked about this in the post-match or I think mid-innings interviews where this is what he worked on before the IPL season started. And for him to be able to do this, that is great.
True.
Let's go into a crazy stat fact.
Well, I just have one crazy stat this week, and that's the match that got washed out yesterday was the first time in IPL history that Punjab Kings had a washed out game.
Insane.
Yeah.
God damn. Let's go into the technical takeaway, and I think we have a reel on this today too. But Priyan Sharia, the way he batted yesterday was not just beautiful to watch, but it's something a lot of people should think about. Excuse me. And a lot of people, and if you are a batter like him, or if you are a very technically sound batter, it's the kind of innings you could play in a T20 game. And the best, or I think one thing to think about is playing through the line of the ball. Commentators talk about this a lot. And if you guys don't know cricket jargon, it can be the most weird thing to hear, because what does even playing through the line of the ball even mean? Usually playing through the line of the ball is indicated to a full-end delivery when a batter is able to go on the front foot and usually play a drive. And this basically means that the angle of your body and the angle of the bat is in line with the angle of the ball, which also basically means that if the ball is outside the off stump and if you're playing a cover drive, that's playing through the line of the ball. Or if the ball is in the middle stump and you're playing a straight drive, that's playing through the line of the ball. That's what it essentially means. And that's what Priyan Sharia did really well. For him to play through the line of the ball and hit those sixes and one bounce boundaries, or even boundaries that went through the fielders, went through the gaps. It's just good to see a batter like him who's essentially very, very attacking, sticking to technique. And we've seen a lot of batters over the years, someone like a Chris Lynn, someone like even Fraser McGurk, just struggling while just swinging the bat, and now even Abhishek Sharma this season. Because in the end, there is a reason why that a technique works, right? And of course, different techniques do work, but you need to stick to something. You need to stick to basics. And I think that's what Priyan Sharia did very, very well yesterday. And that's what he did, play through the line of the ball. And that is our life for the day. Wahoo! Whoop, whoop. So now we'll talk about things that you guys have been talking about. Ravi Singh, you've asked us a couple of times. Why don't you do a review every day after the match ends? Or probably the next day. Is it possible? It could be. But we're not doing that. This IPL,
Yeah.
we'll see. So we will do every day of the test match that comes about when India goes to England.
True.
But the IPL season, we weren't really sure how to go about things, and if people wanted us to do an everyday thing, because the matches get over around 11:30, and so we weren't really sure how many people will tune in after a match.
But yeah.
Not that people are tuning in on a Sunday morning. But
Drop a like, get more people to come in.
Srikanth, can we talk about the unusual bounce offered by the Chinnaswamy this season? Has to be underutilized by both the teams.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like at least Josh Hazelwood has been utilizing
Yeah, the
that
first
bounce.
part is true, the unusual bounce. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is unusual. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's underutilized.
Yeah. I think it just took RCB a lot longer to figure out what to do with that bounce.
True.
Maybe Josh, because it's similar in some sense to Australian pitches.
I completely agree.
Yeah? Maybe that's why from the start he's been good at the Chinnaswamy, but others have taken time to adapt. Krunal Pandya has been using the bouncer well. So, yeah.
I think, I don't think it's been underutilized, because if you see from ball one, bowlers are hardly trying to swing the ball. Even someone like a Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he puts the ball short of good length. And for someone like him who would bowl it very, very full, he's bowling a shot of good length. Same with Josh Hazelwood. I think that's what Yash Dayal is struggling with. Like he's pitching it up to the batter. And I apologize. And but the bowlers in both the teams, we saw Jofra Archer in the RR versus RCB game. They're all using the pitch very, very well. Yeah, but a lot of bounce. That's insane amount of bounce. Unusual bounce in Chinnaswamy this season, guys. Yeah, unusual for sure.
Unusual for sure, yeah.
Krish, we trigger. What's lacking for RR with bottling chases from winning positions? I think it's a very, very experienced and consistent middle order batter.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, they would ideally have expected Shimran Hetmyer to be able to do that.
True.
He's been around for so long.
True.
But just the fact that he's out of form and suddenly they have nobody. Like, one thing with RR also during the auctions, and this is something we spoke about in our video, was that they just went very weirdly in the auctions. First of all, having Dhruv Jurel for 14 CR, could they have actually released him and possibly gotten him for a much smaller price in the auction itself?
True.
That's one thing. The other thing is, if they also picked up a lot of Indian pacers or Indian players without really focusing on a good middle order bat. And it's also the case that Nitish Rana wants to bat at 3, Riyan Parag wants to bat at 4. If they could just probably have Jurel at 4 and send Parag at 6 or something like that, where he initially did find success in that breakthrough season for Riyan Parag. So it's just a lot of confusion, and it doesn't help that things are probably not great in their dugout.
That's true. Overdose, let's take your question before you go on. Kohli playing spin in IPL 2025 shouldn't come as a surprise because Kohli playing spin in IPL 2024 was very, very similar. He looked to play the sweep shot, looked to attack the spinners a lot more, which is also why it was promising heading into the international season. But then we realized maybe it's just an IPL thing or a T20 format thing, because playing spin in the test matches and ODI format is a completely different playing field altogether.
Yeah.
But Virat playing spin in this year, again, like I said, shouldn't be a surprise because him playing spin last year in the IPL was great in itself, and he's continuing to do that. So, yeah, there you go. Is Surya Vanshi really 14? Oh,
Yeah.
above Surya Vanshi. I mean, you could find out. Should Jacob Bethel be given a chance in the setup by RCB? Except where would he
Nope.
possibly bat?
There is no place for him. There is no
Yeah.
point to play him right now. That's like, yeah.
Hey, Channel 2, you're here. Good to see you here. Why do you suppose there have been so many drop catches this season? With each drop I witnessed, I'm suspicious of the intensity of teams' fielding practice, and my affinity fielding gloves increases. Oh, interesting. I don't know if there have been more drop catches than the previous seasons. I know the season after COVID was horrendous.
Oh, yeah. That had a lot to do with just lack of game time.
Yeah,
possibly.
I also think, I don't know, with the volume of matches, the chance of drop catches increases.
I don't know. It could
I
be.
don't know the stat behind this,
Yeah,
so I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it could be a couple of things. Yeah, if we had stats for this, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Which is why we need money, guys, so that we can actually buy one of these data people.
how that's why you
ask
for money,
Yeah, for you to get the best insights. But yeah, I mean, at some stadiums, the simple thing is that the lighting angles or the stands are just so weirdly at eye level.
Yeah.
Although I'm not saying this as an excuse for the players, because they're international players and they're expected to do it, but it really does make a difference. Like if it's a flat catch and you can't side the ball, there's no way you're going to catch it.
Yeah. So many drop catches have something to do with match fixing. Dude, you, Surya, I don't know. I mean, you've had the most extreme takes about... First of all, let me get into that. You want Ruturaj Gaikwad to retire because you think, which is fine, that he is done and dusted for someone who hasn't scored a lot of runs in the international circuit and has failed in the domestic season this year and hasn't done in this IPL. For you to think that he's done, I don't completely disagree with it. I mean, I don't think he's done. But for him to retire...
Hectic, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing with someone's career. Like, let the man live. He can still play even if he's done. In a world where you think he is done, and if he is done, he can still play domestic cricket until he's 40. So that's next 12 years or 10 years of his life. Should he retire? Absolutely not. Because for someone like a Surya Kumar Yadav who made his debut for the Indian team in his 30s, Ruturaj Gaikwad has already played for the Indian team. He's just one season away from being back. Alright. And the match fixing thing, very easy to say. Akshay Krishnan, I love Surya now. I love him too. I mean, I love these extreme takes. Don't get us wrong. Like, have these takes coming. We're never going to dismiss it.
Yeah.
But will we talk about it? Absolutely. Does dew on... My God.
Sorry, guys.
Does dew on ball make catching tough? Because drop catches... Oh, there's less battery. Alright. Does dew on ball make catching tough? Because drop catches in second innings are more. That is very, very true. I mean, dew... Oh, before you guys get confused, Praatib's camera died. As you can see on the screen, there's less battery. We are changing battery. Praatib's camera has a lot more problems than my life. And but yes, dew does make catching very, very difficult. The same way how dew makes it very difficult for bowlers to hold on to the ball and everything. So yes, but it's not the first season where there has been dew or the first time there has been dew. But yeah, if you were to ask if dew makes it tough to catch, yes it does. We're back and Praatib's blurred.
Whoa, that's crazy. Anyways, moving on to the next question that I'm trying to find. Can Dewar Brevis be the next superstar for CSK looking at the impact he made in the first game? Yeah, I think he can be. I think Dewar Brevis looked the part. Guys, I'm very blurred, right? But that's okay. You just need to listen to my voice. Oh, now you can't even see me. Damn, guys. This guy. Just give us a moment. We're focusing my camera back, and Ashwin's doing that because that's what he does.
All right, we're back.
Yo.
God bless us.
Yeah, I think Duval Bravis is a very lucky pick for the CSK.
Yeah.
Lucky find. He didn't do well with the Mumbai Indians and everything, but whoa, I zoomed out. But yeah, with CSK, I hope they persist with him. If he can have that kind of impact at a ground like Chepauk,
That is true.
like you already know how much talent he has.
Yeah.
Already has drawn comparisons to AB in the style of play and everything. So yeah, let's see how it goes. It's too early to comment.
This is such an interesting question. Ravi Singh. I searched a lot but never got a convincing answer. Generally, wrist spinners are leggies and finger spinners are offies. Can wrist spinners be offies or vice versa?
Wait. What?
And finger spinners are off spinners. Can a wrist spinner be an off spinner, whereas can a finger spinner be a leg spinner? So, I'll say the finger spinners bit. Yeah, finger spinners can be leg spinners. And we've seen that happen a lot of times. If you're like a Aswin, for the first half of the season, he just came and bowled the carom ball. That's probably just being a leg spinner. But is he? So he's a finger spinner who's predominantly an off spinner because that's what he's done. But can a finger spinner be a leg spinner?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we have seen Varun Chakravarti, we have seen Sunil Narine. They have the other one if they were to do that predominantly.
Yeah.
To be fair, Varun Chakravarti is not an off spinner. He is a finger spinner because he can spin the ball both ways. So to answer the second half of your question, yes, finger spinners can be leg spinners, but can wrist spinners be off spinners?
If they only ball googlies, sure. But here's the thing, right? For a finger spinner to be a leg spinner
It's much easier.
is much easier, but is also equally rare
Yeah.
because it requires great skill to be able to ball leg spin with your
And
fingers.
you'll probably only be able to play that one shot format. Because if you were to go to Australia and play a test match, being a finger spinner trying to spin the ball,
Your fingers will fall out. Dude. Yeah, and for a wrist spinner to be an offie means he just needs to ball googlies. By definition, an off spinner is someone who spins it into the right hander, and a leggy is a leg spinner is someone who spins it away from the right hander. So,
what an interesting question.
nice question.
Abhiram, looks like Rohit saw your video. He's batting in fourth gear now. What's your take?
Actually, he's not just batting in fourth gear, he's easing into a fourth gear.
Yeah.
He's not starting off in the fourth gear, which
That's
is
true.
what we've been raving about, which is what Virender Sehwag said on Crickbuzz. I think Crickbuzz should sign us up. But yeah, it's exactly that. Like, you have the talent of Rohit Sharma, you have the gift of being able to time a ball, you have the experience of Rohit Sharma. Why not just bite those 10 extra balls so that you can play the long innings? Because you scoring a 20 or 30 versus you being able to score a 76 not out, huge difference.
Channel 2, I don't think that's how it works. I mean, you've commented on a public platform, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I might be completely wrong. So if you were to sue us, get ready for no money. I'll tell you that much. Judge, do you think Karun Nair will perform in the future matches, or was the 89 or 40 a one-off thing this season?
I hope not,
Yeah,
for his sake.
true.
But yeah, let's see.
Pranav Nair, check the stats. What is the stat? What did Overdose say? Bro, Harshdeep is slightly overrated according to me. Oh, that's the stat.
He's expensive, but is he overrated?
Absolutely
I don't
not.
think so.
Yeah.
I think he's rated just fine.
Advait, because of the new ball, shine wears off with the white ball faster than red. So Virat Kohli not struggling with fifth stump line. Yeah,
That is true.
I mean it's also the T20 format.
Yeah,
so
correct.
how many fifth stump line are you even bowling to him anyways? Jofra Archer did in the last game. He did miss it. Just letting you know. What is SRS doing wrong? George asks. Not adapting to different conditions, just playing with the same. I mean, I've talked about this last week. Just playing with the same style is fine, but you got to adapt to conditions, and they haven't been adapting to conditions. We'll take a couple more questions before we go. My brain left the chat. I think Maxwell trying to overhit the ball. That's the reason for his failure. In BBL, he didn't overhit. That is very true. Your opinion.
Yeah. Agree with that, but with Maxwell, I also feel like it's a lot of how he's doing mentally.
Yeah.
Because he's been very vocal about his mental health struggles and how that has directly affected his game so many times. Where he's gone on to take a break, then he's come back fresh for the international season and he's dominated. So, yeah, but hitting the ball hard definitely can be a thing. Sometimes you just try too hard to make things happen and it doesn't happen.
That's true. Rahul, how did Dhoni survived for many years despite of such BS footwork, the same way Sehwag survived for so many years. Hand-eye
Hand-eye.
coordination.
Yeah.
Vignesh, SRH needs a road. Damn. Ravish Singh. Ravish. Yeah, Virat missed versus Archer, but it happened more because of the bounce of that pitch. No, yeah, true. I was just.
It's just that whatever it is, around the fifth stump, you have Virat with a little bit of
Yeah,
struggle.
that's true. Do you think Nuwan Tushara should be given a chance in the place of Romario and go a bit bowling heavy since RCB batting has been good at the top of the order?
See, with Nuwan Tushara, do you have a thought?
No, I was just saying they don't need to go particularly heavy in the bowling because they've got everything they need.
Yeah.
They have 2 spinners, they have 2 fast bowlers.
True.
Actually, they have 3 fast bowlers.
I mean,
if anyone,
Yash
Tim
there.
David could also bowl if he
that
needs
over.
to.
Yeah.
So I think they're okay in that sense.
Yeah.
What is your top 6 for next year's
Next year's T20 World Cup.
We'll top 6 for the Indian team, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Fair. We'll talk about that. Over to the best technical test batsman in current era. Damn. Very left field question.
Kane Williamson's pretty good.
True. Yeah. Kane Williamson, yeah.
Joe Root is solid.
Yeah,
But is
Joe
he?
was pretty solid, yeah. I think, it would be technically solid. I can't think of test batters for some reason right now.
We're in IPL mode. But speaking of test batters and test matches, guys, during the England series, we'll be going live every day. So
Yeah.
tune in. We'll have so much fun.
Boys, just a point. Overpaid retention teams had failure this seasons and bad auction. Mostly example SRH, RR, CSK. Oh yeah,
That is true.
really.
Yeah.
Smith isn't technically right, but then he makes his technique work. So Virat was good till 2020. Technically, is a bit.
Orthodox and technique are two interlinked but slightly different things. So Smith is not orthodox, but his technique is what is the word? Watertight. Yeah, that's the word for him. Yeah.
All right, this has been a live. We can continue taking a lot of questions. Today, a lot more of you guys joined, which we appreciate a lot. I think it's the title that worked. But yeah, if you haven't joined a live before, hit the like, help us push this live to a lot more people.
Yeah.
A little bit of shout out to Pranav Nair, Shrikant, Akshay,
The boys,
Vignesh.
the lads.
You guys have consistently been on our live, so thank you so much for that. Surya, I hope
You become a consistent on the
and
live with your takes.
and it's fun listening to you have your takes. So yeah, thank you so much for this. We have 62 people on our live. It's the first IPL week where we had more than 50. Says something about how downhill our YouTube lives gotten from having 500 people during the test matches to 60, which we will take. Of course we will take. We're very, very grateful. That's why, also how I started off this live. We might have just 5 people on our live, but the work we do before that will still remain the same because this is what we love doing. We love talking cricket. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't followed us on our WhatsApp channel, do that. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, do that. We're stuck in some 2,248, 49.
Oh yeah,
we
get
keep
us to
fluctuating there.
10k followers, dude. What are you doing?
I just talked about 2,200.
Yeah.
Man's ambitious is what I'll say. But yes, thank you so much for watching channel 2. Keep up with your comments. We love reading them. Yeah. See you guys next week, Sunday morning at 11 a.m. same time. Peace.